Good evening, members. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to today's program, this main program of Young Leaders Climate Mentorship. My name is Mukumya Dennis, and I'm from Uganda, and I'm also representing SAY Uganda, which is Soaring Community Empowerment Initiative. And I happen to be the moderator of today's session, where we are going to talk about an introduction to climate advocacy and adaptation strategies from our senior facilitators. One of the facilitators is Mr. Julius Menya and Mr. Patrick Sebutinde. In this session, we shall have a climate change and its global impacts, where we shall be able to understand climate change, its causes and its effects. We shall also have an interactive discussion on global challenges and local impacts. Then we shall also have an introduction to climate advocacy. What is advocacy for climate? The role of advocacy in climate action, then the principles of effective advocacy, and probably hands-on group activity. So I take this opportunity to welcome you once again, and good evening everyone. Here in Uganda, it's 7 p.m. and I want to welcome each and everybody wherever you are and whatever country you are representing. Thank you so much for making it. If you are listening to me, please, you can raise up your hand or a thumb so that I can be motivated a little bit. Yes, I'm seeing Moses. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Nehemiah. You're welcome. Thank you, Felix. You're also welcome. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Joachim. I'm seeing you also online. I'm also seeing Cynthia. Thank you so much for being online. Yeah, I think we can proceed. To talk about this, the young leaders climate. So the Young Leaders Climate Mentorship Program, it is free, fully online capacity building program. And as you can see, for young leaders, it is designed for young advocates, majorly 16 to 35 years, where we shall be equipping people with essential knowledge, skills, and confidence to actively participate in climate actions. We are in collaboration of Soaring Community Empowerment together with Hope for Life, together with the Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda. And then we have the Department of Sindh Environment Protection Agency in Pakistan, represented by CR, to come up with this capacity building program. So we are dedicated to equipping the young people and young women to become climate advocates, so that they can emerge as leaders or change makers in their respective communities to drive impactful climate action throughout their communities. So it's a 5-week program. We shall be having one session per week. And this session shall also be having moderators per session to equip us with enough knowledge in climate action. Then I myself am representing SAY, also in Community Empowerment Initiative. We are also climate advocates based here in Uganda. We do climate action and implement its activities. We do advocacy from grassroots to international level. And most of our activities have always been funded by Plan International. And this community of ours is a youth movement, is a youth-led movement. So without wasting time, let me first welcome one of our speakers today, Mr. Julius. First of all, to provide us with a nice break session on what to expect, or an introduction to the program and overview of the goals. And he proceed with his presentation. So, Mr. Julius, you are highly welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dens and the team. I'm too excited to meet young people. Please confirm, Dens, whether I'm audible enough without any interaction. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are very audible.
Wow. Thank you so much for inviting me and for collaborating with us. This is a great opportunity for us all to learn. I think as young people from specific regions where we are coming from. I'm Benya Julius. I work with Hope for Life Uganda and in the Department of Environment. I'm exceedingly humbled to share with you young people, but also I love it when we all participate and have a youth-friendly conversation about climate change. Few times that young people are converging to discuss issues of climate change. And I'm really excited that Team Say collaborated with us to have this lively conversation. We hope that we will have a detailed one, and we hope that this is a safe space for us all to really discuss issues related to climate. I will be taking you through with the 17D Patrick. I think before I go ahead, I will also invite Patrick to just introduce so that I can go ahead with my presentation. Thank you so much. As I share the screen, 17D, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Julius, for such a kind and warm introduction. I'm September Patrick from SAY. Where I am, I don't have power, so it is dark. So there's no need of me sharing the screen. But I'm very happy to be here and I'm excited to join this platform so that together we journey and make an impact in the world we live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Just please confirm whether you can see my screen. I'm trying to share. But also, I think the moderator maybe forget to tell you, let us keep in chat. Just tell us where you are, the name, and maybe probably the country where you are coming from. We have a lovely conversation. Being that we are all young people, I don't expect us to keep quiet, but to learn from each other. Just tell me whether you are able to see my screen, please.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Yeah, this. Just a minute. Yes, I think we are good to go. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are viewing the screen, please.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I think we want, and one of the key things that we as the organizers expected is that share knowledge, but also we want to learn from you how you're going. We all know that all young people basically on this call, you're either an activist, you're either leading in an NGO, you're taking up another role maybe in the community. So we really want to learn from you and we really want to share. That's basically the session objective. Is we want to share knowledge, but also learning from you a lot about climate change, climate advocacy, local impact and global impact. How can we maneuver through, but also work together as young colleagues in the region, in the continent, or globally. So basically that is it, and we want to see an understanding of really climate change and its impact. Let's see my screen. So we talk about climate change. I just want to know. I think fellow colleagues on the call and those on the call can just tell us basically, when you hear about climate change from your end, what comes into your mind? Like when you hear the word climate change, really what comes into your mind? What do you think about? Is it that when you hear about climate change, you think about what? Planet, anything? Like what do you think about when you hear about climate change? What comes into your mind as a young leader, as an advocate? Just write in the comment section. We want to get, I just want to get a brief overview of how you perceive climate change to be. Please, when you hear about climate change, what are the key things you like comes into your mind? We just want to get just a gist of what is it. Just feel free. This is a free space where we want to learn from each other. You know, let me give an example. For me, when I hear about climate change, I see, when I just hear about climate change, I look at how, what comes to my mind is how we are cutting down trees, of course, in our communities, and it impacts, like it touches me a lot. So from your end, when you hear about climate change, what is it that comes into your mind? You can just even ask for the microphone and tell us a bit within 30 seconds. When you're okay, you can just unmute and tell us what comes into your mind. Or in the comment section, you can just write what comes into your mind. For me, when I see people cutting tree, it touches me a lot, and I really see there is a danger on the planet. From you, I think you can just unmute and give us just 30 seconds and we see. If there are people in comments that are writing, maybe Dennis can a bit read, a bit, 2 or 3, and we proceed.
All right. Here there is Regina Namugerwa saying change in weather patterns recorded over a long period of time. Benny Makosi from Zimbabwe saying it is a change of weather patterns over a long period of time also. I think those are the 2 responses we have in the chat. Maybe if you can also raise your hand, if you want to contribute.
Yeah. You can raise your hand or still go in the chat, but I think it's too critical about the change in weather pattern. And I think, yeah, I'm excited to be on a space where I'm having experts, of course, experts, but people who know their community.
Yes, Mutenge George.
Good evening. Good evening, our moderator.
Good evening, George. You're welcome.
This is Mtenga George from. I want to give my view about how we perceive the term climate change. Climate change, I understand it as a long-term shifts in global. Pardon? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah, I perceive the term climate change as the long-term shift in global or regional climate patterns primarily being driven by human activities or anthropogenic activities that increase the greenhouse gas emissions that will result into warming the planet. And this manifests in various ways through increasing global temperatures and altered weather patterns, melting of glaciers or ice sheets, and raising of the sea level, essentially.
Wow. Thank you, George. And I think you mentioned key critical things in your narrative and your perspective, especially the issues of greenhouse emissions, melting of glaciers. Yeah, I think climate change entails all the impacts, and I think for you, you're able to bring out exactly what climate change really comes to you. Is there anyone in the comment section that also had an idea or any other last one?
Yes, let me read these ones. Nehemiah said, when I hear about climate change, I think of flooding and drought in our country. Then Cedric from Uganda says changes in temperature and weather patterns over a long period of time. I'm seeing long periods of time being so common here.
Yeah. That is amazing. That's amazing, really. And I think, yes, we are engaging passionate people. We are engaging people at least who have the gist of the entire thing we are dealing with. All the combination of things we are seeing here, it's emission of carbon dioxide, industrial acts, cutting down trees, long-term weather pattern, drought and everything. Those are part of the key things that really, when you talk about climate change, you can't go away with such key critical things. Let's go to the next slide. So I think climate change as a key term. Let me just give an example, because I know all of us coming from different countries have experienced the impact of this. Let me give an example of where I come from, the community where I come from. We normally had 2 seasons, and that is a rainy season and dry season, of course. So we normally experienced rain during the rainy season, and dry season we have a prolonged drought, of course, but it was common while I was growing up. So I used to see many people cutting down trees for charcoal. I used to see how agriculture activities like grazing or burning could really contribute to the weather patterns going into prolonged drought in my community. And I think so many people say that climate change is just things that doesn't, many people actually don't understand the impact of it. But I think for me, it comes to a point where I could really see the real impact, especially the weather pattern, as colleagues from other countries have mentioned this, that change in weather pattern a bit contributes, or is part of the things that contribute to part of climate change. And I think for me, this is too critical. As many people are cutting down trees, we realize that we are experiencing prolonged sunshine. We are experiencing delay in seasons, something that was not, common by then. So I think it's too critical, and UN defined it as something that is a long-term shift in temperature and weather patterns that's primarily caused by human activities. I think according to this definition of UN, it's more of we humans are contributing a lot to climate change. Vis-a-vis, there are other natural factors that are also contributing to this, but greatly it's human activities. Those things actually that maybe we've been mentioning here, So I think it's one of the key critical things that are leading and causing climate change. And basically, being that we've come to a critical understanding of how and what are the causes of climate change, human activities have greatly influenced this. And one of the key causes is burning of fossil fuels, and this comes to manufacture of maybe vehicles, the emission, carbon dioxide that maybe the vehicles release in atmosphere. It is really a critical activity that is contributing so much to this. I think developing countries are moving away from using fuel cars to electronic cars. It is too critical. And I think there is still a gap when it comes to developing country adopting this as a technology, because it's expensive. It's a high-level technology that is more or less likely developing country can adopt to it. I'm just giving an example of how, right now, let me just give an example of the new model cars that are being made in European countries. For you to import this new model car, maybe 2023 cars, because now these are electronic cars. For you to import it maybe to a country like Kenya, Uganda, you probably need a lot of, like, they import a lot of tax on you to be able to have this car in. Then I think an equation could come. Our state actors in developing countries knowing the huge impact of this. So I think for us an advocate, this brings or starts to ignite us to advocate for maybe even subsidizing taxes for these electronic cars, because they're environment friendly. But now we are relying on cars, on motorcycles that that consumes a lot of fuel and release a lot of carbon emissions. As one of the other key causes of climate change is deforestation. Of course, this is critical, and I think all of us who is on this call have that experience or can tell of how the destruction of forest cover really have contributed to prolonged seasons, but also drought. This is too contextual, and I think moving forward, we are going to share of our experience with these causes. Then agriculture, this is too critical, especially banning as we prepare maybe for the season, but also grazing, where animal cattle literally destroy the pasture, causing things of soil erosion, but also I think destruct the nature. Then industrial activities, this comes to the fumes, the releasing of emissions. I come from a region where we used to be an industrial hub. That was Ginger, and I used to see a lot of industry producing these fumes. Little did I know that this could contribute to the change in weather patterns. Right now, I think we are crying in delay of seasons. Could be literally because of such activities. Environment change and its impact sometimes are felt in a long-term distances. Let me give an example. As the global West, the developing countries are producing, they are launching missiles, industries. As there is these are weather partners. As there is a shift in weather partners, the LDCs, there is a narrative, there is a conversation on how developing countries like Africa are really also feeling the impact of this. Because in most cases, and give you an example of the airspace, mostly Africa is not participating in the airspace, but the impact of it, because anything that is being done in the space, anything that is being done in the horizon layer, there must be an effect on the human being. So I think we are also experiencing that as people, especially on the African continent, but also people in the global south. Other natural factors, of course, we come to volcanic eruptions. And of course, this comes when the volcanoes, of course, release magma, release ashes that destroy, the surface of the earth. And also, I think one of the key things, it's if we are not if you're not too keen, it even take away people's lives. You see, talk about natural greenhouse gas. Now these are forests that also release a bit of carbon dioxide. But I think these are minimal. These are minimal factors. And also research has been there that with natural factors, they're a bit minimal. It's not like how the human activities have contributed greatly to climate change. So basically, those are the causes of climate change. Moving to another slide. the global challenge, of course, the global challenge of climate change. Of course, we've seen a lot public health risks. We've seen emergency of skin diseases. There is research that is also available that is talking to, as we are experiencing prolonged weather patterns, more of skin diseases are rising. Also, I think as a public health concern, let me give an example of the community where I come from. We mostly, let me give an example of adolescent girls. We still use the traditional way, of managing menstruation. So in most cases, as adolescent girls use these menstruation cups, they dump them, of course. They dump them around the environment, around schools. And for us, it's too critical that we don't, take into account of these things, but they are too critical. The other thing is sometimes girls use clothes when they are going into their menstruation period, but due to, change in weather patterns, you see that it affects these menstrual clothes from, drying as fast as possible. So it's one of the key things that is really affecting people. And I think we need to integrate climate change and public health in order to inform our programming, because it's a critical key issue. Then of course you come to loss of biodiversity, this in terms of cutting down of trees, you come to volcanic eruption, you come to to issues of wetlands, where mankind and human activity have contributed to clearing wetlands, of course, maybe for rice growing in my country, for maize growing. Then rising temperature, one of the key global challenges that we are again fighting for. And I think rising temperature is one of the key critical things. When even you look at the international agreements, when you look at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, when you look at binding treaties like the Kyoto Protocol, when you look at issues like the Paris Agreement 2015, they are really coming to make sure that they reduce the global warming in terms of reducing the temperature maybe to 2 degrees Celsius. It's a global concern. That's why now we have the COP processes and negotiations to climate change. So I think it's one of the key global challenges. Then also, of course, the sea level rise. In most countries like Bangladesh, you see a rise in sea level, and it's causing flooding in such countries. But also we've seen a decline in sea level changes, of which the water in the sea, say an example of Lake Victoria, sometimes we say rise, sometimes we say fall. It is basically because of the activities that we are doing. Then of course we have the loss of biodiversity, the wetland, the forests. Extreme weather events, of course, we've seen the hurricanes, we've seen the wildfires in the USA. This is basically due to to the role of human activity in being an enemy to climate change. Please, if you can just be able, if you want to get any clarity, just be able to chip in and let me know if you want a clarity, a question, or to add on anything. We are just learning here. So I want to get like 2 to 3 people to talk to us about the current or how they have felt from their community the impact of climate change. Just localize this. I don't just want to go into a global perspective. In your community, what's happening in terms of climate change? What is really how is the environment reacting to our activities as people? I just want to get like 3, 2. You can raise your hand or in the chat box. Then are you able to just take up the 2 people just to localize this global impact of global climate change? What is happening in our community when it comes to climate change, the impact, please? In the comment section, or you can just raise your hand.
Stage.
Yes, Dennis, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see Marcos, please. Yes. Okay, Gilbert.
Hello. Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Marcos.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. In my community, I'm Makosi from Zimbabwe. In my community, the impacts of climate change, we're having community members cutting down trees. That is the first problem. That's the first problem that we have. The challenge that we have, the causes of climate change, cutting down of trees, that's deforestation. And the impacts we're facing droughts, we are facing floods, we are facing outbreak of diseases being caused by climate changes. So I understand that the elders in my community, most of them, they don't understand anything about climate change. They think they have their own beliefs. You know, every community has cultural norms and beliefs. So they have their own beliefs. But as for me, as a climate change advocate, I made sure that I come to their senses to explain to them, to educate them about climate change, the impact, the causes of climate change. They are cutting down of trees for firewood, for fencing, for domestic use. And then I started to encourage the afforestation. And then we started in schools, whereby I go in schools planting trees. The reason why I'm going to schools planting trees, I'm trying to raise up indigenous leaders for tomorrow at a tender age. So I've realized that when I go to schools and teach about climate change impacts and climate change causes, those children, they will go back home with the messages. Maybe their parents will understand them better, because we are now having a two different generation, this generation and the generation of our parents, whom they have their still beliefs, whom they still have their traditional beliefs. So in short, that's what we are facing in my community. The impacts of climate change, they've caused outbreak of disease like blood pressure, diabetes, they cause to drought, they cause to leading to hunger, and also increasing the number of school dropouts and early pregnancies, even gender-based violence being caused by poverty, that is being caused by climate change. We have realized that due to low rainfall tables that we are receiving, the yields, they are even lotus affected the agriculture department. Like, we are no longer harvesting high yields, so leading to hunger and leading to poverty.
Wow. Thank you. I think it's too critical that things of really deforestation is cutting across, especially in developing countries and majorly Africa. I think this is too critical, and thank you so much. But I love the approach you're taking to is educating the community. I think that is too critical thing that all activists here must take into account, and educating the community to know exactly what's happening. That is too critical, and thank you so much. Can we get one and one in the chat and we proceed? We cannot hear you. Then is anyone on the call, like talking? Is I don't know, Regina, are you able to come in a bit and say, is anyone on having issues with network? It can come later. Okay. Regina, are you able to come on? Yeah.
Yes, I'm available. Is my network clear?
Yes, it's clear. I think the other one will come in a bit after you. Just chip in.
Oh, okay, I'm Regina from Kenya. Some of the impact, as I've realized as times goes, is unpredictable, maybe rainfall. In my community or in my country, mostly we used to have a specific time for farming and so on. But as time goes, I think it's because of climate change, we no longer predict when to plant, when to harvest. So we do by guesswork. And this one has affected so many people, especially those who dwell in agriculture. They cannot plan for themselves. They cannot plan for when to farm, when to harvest, and therefore, which in turns bring to low agricultural production, which leads to poverty, and then also maybe makes people to divert to other activities to earn a living. Okay.
Wow, thank you, Regina. And I think it's too critical that all youth activists here are pointing to key critical things, especially with the sector priority sectors. Regina is pointing to agriculture, which is not a critical sector here, but I also love the approach that you're using and engaging the community into. I think this is too critical, and all of us, I'm just too amazed that we are all working to make the community understand exactly what we are not doing right. We are not being friends to nature. Thank you, Regina. The other one had issues with the internet. Is he or she able to chip in so that we can proceed?
Let me briefly read what is in the
a bit. Yeah. Thank you.
Joachim is security. Then Nuwasima Edgat is saying it has caused famine due to prolonged droughts in areas where there is destruction of nature. I think those are the two responses we have in the chat.
Yeah.
And then I think it is Gilbert who had network issues. I don't know whether it's okay right now.
Is he able to chip in 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Gilbert.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Namara Gilbert from Uganda. Climate change here, we have had severe effects. I experienced it firsthand. Like the previous person said, here we also use it to predict seasons. In January and February, people here expected rain. So they had to till their land, they had to sow, but surprisingly, we had scorching sunshine throughout, meaning all the seeds dried up. Then coming to March, we still did not have rain. Instead, we had whirlwinds. There were strong winds which were too dry. Then we did have a little bit of rain, but then still it wasn't enough to support plant growth. And this means we are likely to experience hunger in these coming months. And this is too different to what we used to have in the other previous seasons. We would predict and know that probably in February we will be, sowing our seeds. But this is too different now, and I think people have started to know what a real climate change is. And we've got to be cautious. People here have cut down trees. They are all, turning their lands into commercial. They want to plant coffee here. It's it's a cash crop here. It's a cash crop that Ugandans do harvest for money. So we are planting a lot of coffee and a lot of tea. Anyway, all the lands are being commercialized and all the trees have been cut down. So meaning we are likely to face severe hunger here in my district of Kanungu in Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilbert. And I think you point to key critical things, especially drought. I think it has been a key concern, especially when it rains, it is basically heavily, and when it shines, it's also too long. I think you point out to critical things, and it takes me back to my introduction of how I was talking about, change in season, delayed seasons. This is too critical, and I'm happy that youth activists are knowing this reality, and I know that if this can open up and start a conversation to discuss really about key issues related to climate. Just yesterday, there is a picture there with Al Jazeera. It was a wildfire that happened in Palestine. I think it is, I would just say reported it, but it's mostly rare, but it happened. It's basically, it might be due to results of what's happening there. How these guys maybe treating the environment, destructing the environment, but also I think the missiles that are being launched there. So I think basically global impact of climate change, we cannot really understand them when we've not localized the impact. And I'm happy that we can get all perspectives from Kenya, from Zambia, but also from Uganda. Now we come to climate advocacy. Few times, let me give an example of Uganda. A few times do I see engagement on TVs, and these people are talking about climate. Basically, in most of our countries, mostly engagement, media engagement are focused on politics, which is not bad. But how often are we youth activists, the climate negotiators, people who care about the planet, are we engaging the media to have really conversation about not the climate? Are we caring about planet, people, and profits, or we are also just seated and waiting? So I think we need to build an advocacy, climate strategy where we can reach to a broader, perspective, but also making sure that we have these conversations on media, but also in the community. So climate advocacy, it's a broader strategy to protect human health from climate change. And I think World Health Organization have a clear strategy and an intervention. They designed it clearly that mentions exactly what should be done. And I think one of the key things I took it as too critical is the public awareness campaign. Can we mute?
Mr. Yes.
Yes.
On the issue, because this is a 1 hour session. Maybe you could try to, because we have some.
True. How many minutes am I remaining with? Just tell me so that I can summarize, please.
I think 5 minutes.
5, right? Okay, so I think broadly this is how climate advocacy strategy were designed. But my co-critical issue is about the public awareness campaign. It's too critical because colleagues are sharing here from Zambia, from Kenya, on how they're engaging, their community engagements, education initiatives, youth mobilization, policy advocacy. I think at all level, these are the interventions that are too critical in climate change. And we need them as advocates for climate change. Go to another slide. It's moving. It should move. My slide is not moving. I don't know why. Are you able to see the slide? I don't know whether it's not moving. Dennis, are you able to see the slide?
I think the slide can't move.
It can't move. We're still on the climate advocacy broader slide. Now, members, just a brief presentation on your emails or control, but you can do it in your implementation.
Oh, it should be moving. Let me just stop share and reshare it again so that I can conclude my presentation, please. I think it's a technical error. Oh, so sorry. So sorry. I think my last slide speaks to designing designing an advocacy message, of course, targeting to reduce climate change. And I think before, because I have like 3 minutes or 4, I think I'll need to have a view from your side of how should we design an effective advocacy climate message. My screen had issues, had a technical issue. Just trying to share it again and I conclude. I don't know, my screen had issues. Then are you able to see my screen?
It's coming. 1 minute.
Sorry? I'm having issue, I don't know why.
Hello.
Then I think I'll be able to send. We'll be able to share the presentation with the participants. But I wanted to us to a bit discuss about designing effective advocacy message. And I want to have like 1 or 2 people. I think it's my last slide, so I have got issues, technical issues. I can't share the screen. I don't know why. I just want to get like 1 or 2 people to tell us what is it that we should consider when we are designing an effective advocacy message. Just be specific and intentional. Well, how do you see your community? Because you the actors, you know your community. Just briefly tell us in the either comment section or you can raise up the hand and tell us how can we design an effective climate message. What is it that you should consider as an advocate and climate activist? We can have one, just raise the hand and contribute or put in the comment section. Dennis, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but what time? I don't know.
I don't know.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's hear from participant.
This is Mtenga. Yeah. When we are to look at how like we consider the climate change advocates to the community, I think of course the major aim is to raise their awareness to overcome the issue of climate change. But I think one of the critical issues we need to put in mind is that we need to engage in these community members to be part of the system, because they really understand what is on the ground. They're the ones who are the major stakeholders when it comes to the effects or impacts of climate change in their area or region. And then also we need to cooperate. We need to have cooperate. We need to cooperate. That is having corporate responsibility. That is encouraging says to adopt sustainable practices that reduce the carbon footprint. Then also policy advocates. That these are, of course, will advocate for stronger climate change policies at local, national, and international level. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, George. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I think it's too critical that all what you shared, it's engaging the community as a whole. That is really too critical. And yes, I hope that all participants and us have noted key critical things. And for you, I think it's about knowing that it's not about me as a youth activist, climate youth activist, but the entire community. That is really too good. Probably, I think we could go to the principles of effective advocacy towards climate. How can we really do this? What are the best principles? We have to be inclusive and non-discriminatory. We have to encourage substantive participation in our conversation, accountability, make sure that we are pushing our advocacy with evidence-based, but also facts, but also make sure that we empower the community. I think I'll end here by today and now and call Dennis to call up, I think, my co-panelist, our speaker, to conclude. I'm sorry I've taken a lot of time. I had technical issues. I'm really too sorry, but I hope that we will send the presentation. And yeah, Dennis. Dennis? Dennis, are you there?
And I following what is next, and you can send round of across our presenter, Mr. Julius, for this introduction. I opportunity to call upon Mr. Patrick for just 2 minutes, only 2 minutes, then we conclude today's session. Mr. Patrick, you are welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dennis and Mr. Menya Julius. Thank you for a very elaborate and clear presentation you have given us. Really, it has been very wonderful. As the German said, it has been wunderbar. Now here we are. I'm September Patrick Martin. What I'm going to deal with is mentorship, personal goal setting, and guidance for mentors. As you know, our time has gone. Mine is very simple. May I ask one question? What is your contribution to all this crisis of climate change as an individual? By show of hand, what is your contribution towards that? Okay. You know, these online sessions are not very easy. You might log in and we disappear. What is your contribution? If I'm to raise another question, how have you spent your day? So, dear brothers and sisters, as you're wrapping up today, you know very well how to set goals, how you can achieve them. We use normally an acronym called SMART. That's what normally we use when we are dealing with goal settings. And since you know very well, me, what I'm going to give you just a homework, a take-home activity. I'm going to post in a group a letter which all of us are supposed to read, so that it helps us to form our decision making and how we can contribute conclusively on mitigating the climate change crisis. So that letter is written by the late Pope Francis, and that letter is called Laudato Si. I'll share it with you all so that it helps us our textbook and point of reference to know what we are supposed to do. With that, dear brothers and sisters, and with the time issue, allow me to wrap up this session and thank you all for all your contribution and your presence. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, our presenters of today. And I'm really, really empowered for this knowledge that you have just shared. And although we had some technical issues towards the end, but the presentation was very clear and so engaging. So I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one, our representatives from Uganda. You are highly welcome. Representatives from Senegal. I saw representatives from Ghana. I saw representatives from Zimbabwe and also Kenya. But I saw many other countries. Please, next time when you are introducing yourself in the chat, add your address so that we can know where you are residing from. So this marks the end of our first day or our first week, which was Introduction to Climate Advocacy and Adaptation Strategies. This presentation will be shared on your emails so that you can again go through it. Some of you started with us a bit late. And then in the second week, which is on 8th May of 2025, same time, we shall have our second session on international climate policy, the youth engagement. You can also try to read around the climate policy and youth engagement so that you become interactive in that session. This session will be presided over by Ms. Pira Sial, our COP29 alumni from Pakistan. So thank you so much. Mugumya Dennis is my name and I was the moderator of today. And I want to wish you a wonderful evening. Here in Uganda, it's 8:05 p.m. Have a nice evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this
Thank
great.
you, colleagues, and have a good evening.